What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of ThirdEyeCyphs. My name's Natalia, and it is a beautiful day. I'm not too sure what the weather is outside, but it seems pretty nice. I think it's sunny, but it doesn't really look sunny. It's like partly sunny. I feel like I give like a super bad weather description. Well, at least in the last episode too. It was just like it was just weird. Anyways, I feel super good this morning. I don't know why. I kind of feel like in a very chill, meditative state. Like kind of like high, I'm not high though. I mean, I'm high on life, but like it's a very similar kind of chill feeling. Um Today I have some awesome stuff to talk about. One of them being my new book release that I've been like hinting at these past few episodes, and it's finally here. It's finally here. And I'm gonna be doing like a short reading, I guess, of the first chapter, kind of give you some insight of what's in it. And it's not very long. It's pretty short. But the original was even shorter. I actually added some stuff, but it's so funny how like such small things can make big changes. Also mentioned in my book as well. But yeah, so we're gonna be doing that, and I'm gonna be talking about what happened at the expo that I went to, that I mentioned in the last episode, Thrive 360. And what else? I guess we'll just go from there. So let me start by talking about what happened at the expo. So, as you know, before, on the 22nd to 2020, it was super energetical, and I had plans to go to like this amazing event with my friends, which it turned out so good. Like, it was so fun. The entire crew showed up, and it was like the best thing ever. It was just amazing. It was so fun. But I went to sleep super late, like 5 a.m. Everybody left my house at like 5 a.m. basically. And, well, maybe like 4 or something, but I went to sleep at like 5 in the morning. And then I had the expo in the morning, which started, at 11. And I didn't end up showing up until like 12:30 because my rest was like way more important than making the first hour and a half of the expo. Because it went on until 7, even though I left around like 6. But, yeah, I was like pretty tired anyways. So, yeah, the event was awesome. Showed up to the expo at 12:30, I would say. So I kind of missed the first panel, I believe. The panel that I first showed up, like when I first showed up, that was going on was, I think it was about toxins. Yeah, it was about toxins in like our everyday items. So our toothpaste, our clothes, our makeup, our sheets, just all the toxins that we're surrounded by all the time, and we don't even realize it. And how we can kind of prevent these toxins from entering our lives and keep a more healthy life. I didn't take much from it. I was listening at first, but I was more interested in like everything else that was going on around me. So I was just wandering around, didn't really pay much attention. I should have, so I can like relay this information to you. But I was more in my curiosity kind of mode. So I was just like wandering around. There was a lot of awesome vendors there, some jewelry, some like mushroom tonics, like farmers, water. They had like this free water there that you can drink, but it was like super like charged water. Like it was all held in glass, and it was like super filtered from like everything basically, and like charged, and it was super intense water, and it was awesome. I needed it literally because I was so drained from the night before that I was just like drinking all the water, and it was a great help. But after that expo ended, I mean, not the expo, the panel. After that panel ended, another one started immediately after, and I was about to like, get into it, but then this guy came up to me, and he was like, "Hey, we're doing breathwork in the other room. You want to join?" And then I was like, "Oh, I'm down." So I went to go, and this is gonna be the best thing to talk about ever. So this was my first time doing a breathwork workshop. Now I've researched into pranayama and like how to do it, but I never actually went about doing it. I would like kind of do it to like see like, okay, this is how I do it, but I wouldn't actually go through like doing it for an hour or anything. And that's how long this was. It was an hour. And yeah, so I never really did did complete breath work like that. So he kind of like started by talking about himself a little, and then we just kind of went right into it. And it was me and a handful of other people, maybe like 6, 7, 8 other people in the room with me, and we all laid down on yoga mats. And the breathwork exercise that we had to do, I would say research into it first, before like just doing it immediately after hearing me talk about it. But I mean, you could if you want, but I'm not gonna really like tell you exactly how to do it. But it's just basically like strong inhales from starting from your stomach into your lungs, like inhale fully, strongly, and then exhale like softly, like restfully. So it'd be like, but like all through your nose. And then like we kind of switched back to our mouth for like a little bit, and then we switched back to our nose. And this all lasted an hour, and we had to lay down, close our eyes, and just do this breath work at a fast pace. So like basically like that. And within 2 minutes, not even within 2 minutes, like almost immediately, as soon as I started it, my entire body was vibrating like immensely. And I don't know if this happened to a lot of other people, because nobody else, like, they said they felt the vibrations, but I don't know like how soon they felt it. And then even somebody talked to me after, like, wow, you felt it super soon, like that's pretty impressive. And I was like, I mean, I didn't do it on purpose or anything, but then again, I have had a like vibratory experience like that during a meditation that I did from reading a book about like past trauma and stuff like that. And it was super intense, and I even like documented it in my study book, because I was super like interested and like freaked out about the experience that I had just had naturally. But then I was also like under the influence of weed, so I didn't know if that was like accelerator for that meditation or for like increasing my vibration. So that was like kind of the theory, like can I reach this state without being high? And I did reach the state during this breath work, but it was kind of different than the one that I had in the meditation thing that I had done before. But anyways, yeah, so my body was like vibrating immensely, and I was like, oh, like it felt so familiar, because I've had multiple experiences kind of very similar with my body vibrating like that, and especially like when my vibration's very high. So I believe that's what that was, and that's kind of also what I heard. What happens before you astral project. So a lot of astral projection videos that I've watched and like how-tos, you kind of get to the stage where your body's vibrating immensely, and that's kind of the thing that snaps people out of the meditation, or out of like right about to astral project. And that's why a lot of people fail, because they just can't take like how strong the vibrations are. But once you pass that, then you actually astral project. I didn't think I was gonna astral project though, like during the breath work or anything. I think that's just something that was happening. But yeah, so my body was vibrating, and then midway, like this, remember, this is lasting an hour, and this already had started like 2 minutes in. Midway, kind of like 25 minutes in, I wasn't timing it or anything, but he even said like, oh, this is the halfway point or whatever. So like, I'm assuming it was like kind of like 25 minutes in. And he even said like, your muscles were gonna clench and stiffen, and my hands were like stiffening so much, like falling into each other, like rigor mortis kind of. And like I could not open my fingers at all. Like they were just so tightly like fixated in this like clenched like weird position, and I couldn't open my hands. And then like, so I was laying flat on my back, and then I had my arms to my side, but my arms kept wanting to like move upward, like kind of if you're doing a jumping jack and your hands are above your head. They kept wanting to move like upward, and I would try to like push them down, like put them back on my side, but they would just kind of want to go back up. And me studying like chi and prana flow and how it flows throughout my energy, I understand that like the way energy flows in my body. So it was just that the energy was flowing so strongly that like even my physical body couldn't control like my vibration basically, and like how I can like manipulate it, I guess I would say. So yeah, my arms kept wanting to go up. I couldn't move my hands, and then kind of like 10 minutes into that, my feet started to like kind of clench too and stiffen, and I couldn't move my ankles or my feet either, but I was still like stuck, basically paralyzed in a way. But I'm still doing this breath work. I'm not stopping the breath work, and as he's going around, you know, kind of like patting people and like helping them, saying like, okay, you're doing good. And then he kept saying like, you know, you're doing a good job. So I knew I wasn't like doing anything wrong or anything. And then so yeah, then about like after the midway point, it just really started to hurt. Like the clenching in my hands, it was just extremely painful. So I was like lifting up my body as I'm doing the breath work, lifting up my body and then putting my hands like under my hip bones and kind of like moving my hips and like my butt on top of my hands to like kind of massage them, or like put them behind my head to massage my palms and stuff, because it was just getting extremely like painful basically because they were so stiff. And he kind of saw that I was like in pain, so he came to me and he like pried open my hands, because you had to pry them open. Like this was something that was actually happening, and he was like prying them open and like stretching my fingers and like massaging my palms. And afterwards he told me that this isn't good, like you shouldn't really do that. If you just keep breathing through it, if you just breathe through it, your hands will open up and everything will be okay. And I did notice that after he did that, my left hand immediately opened up and I could move my hand, but my right hand was still kind of stiff. But he said that they would just open up automatically if you just breathe through it and got through it. But, so yeah, then that was just, like, extremely insane. And then we switched to the mouth. So beforehand, he had said when you do it through the mouth, it's very, like, prana intaking. So, like, you're going to be intaking way more energy. But he said that we do it through the nose because it brings in more habits. So he said the mouth brings in more prana, but the nose brings in better habits. But I didn't, and then somebody even said afterwards, like, because we kind of did like a sharing circle at the end, he said that he noticed a lot of energy was taken in more when he did it through his mouth. But when I switched to my mouth, I didn't really, if anything, I felt like less energy was being, like, and my throat was drying up super fast too, because like the strong wind that's going in and out of my mouth. But I didn't really feel more energy coming in and out through my mouth when I switched to my mouth. But my nasal passages were completely clear afterwards. Like, I could literally, like, it felt like there was nothing. Like, right now, like, my nose is a little stuffed. And I feel like my nose is kind of always a little stuffed. I don't know if I have, like, problems breathing through my nose or something. Because I do sleep with my mouth open because I can't really breathe through my nose when I sleep. So, like, I think that's a thing for me. But, I could, like, it felt like nothing was in my nose whatsoever. And, like, clear air was just going in and out of my nose by the end of it. But, yeah, so towards, like, the middle end, the vibrations were still happening, but they weren't as intense as they were in the beginning. They kind of had, like, slowed down, and also my breath had gotten easier. So when I first started, I had to get used to the pace. So I was like that, but then by the end I was like, but doing it perfectly fine. Like, it was just weird. Like, by the end I was doing it at a way faster pace. Like, I just kept getting faster and faster, and it's supposed to be at a fast pace. So I guess I just got used to the way I was doing it. And then, so then at the end, we kind of laid down and did, like, a short meditation. So it was just, like, us lying down. And I automatically fell into a meditative state, like, the whole time. So this was kind of supposed to be a trauma-releasing thing. It wasn't specifically for trauma-releasing, but it helps with trauma-releasing, and it helps get through all this stuff that's inside. And I even heard people, so there was this one guy in the room, right, who had been through, like, a lot in his life. Like, he even said it a little beforehand, and, I'm not going to share because it's not my story to share, but, he shared a little beforehand, and he was like, well, a little bit might come out, like, I don't really know what to expect or whatever, because I guess he's never done it before. But you can hear him, like, during this process of, like, us doing the breath work, he was like, like, I don't know if he was crying, but, like, it sounded super intense. A couple other people sounded intense, too. And I actually, like, when I was in pain, I was like, like, I was, like, kind of, not whimpering, but, like, just, like in pain sounds. Like, I had no choice. It was pretty painful. But, yeah, so I didn't really have, like, I don't know if I mean, I do a lot of shadow work. Like, I do try to get to the roots of, like, my triggers and my problems and stuff like that. So maybe I don't have, like, any trauma. Like, and I didn't have a traumatic childhood or anything like that. I mean, like, moving around a lot was traumatizing at the time, but I've learned to transform that and like completely change it over. Like, I don't feel traumatized anymore or anything like that. Like, I don't feel like I have any traumas. So I guess maybe, like, it wasn't supposed to be trauma releasing for me. So during it, like, random memories were coming up, but, like, not even memories, like, full memories. It was just kind of, like, flashes of random memories, but not anything, like, useful or anything, like, important. Like, oh, I remember that. Like, I remember when he hurt me, or I remember when I cried about this, or when I was sad. Or, like, it wasn't anything like that. It was just literally random memories, like me walking to the store, or, like, just something super random. And I would just get, like, short flashes of memories. But, I guess that's releasing. Like, I don't really know what that was, but, it didn't feel like I was releasing trauma specifically. But, yeah, so then in the meditative state, I literally fell right into a meditative state, like, practically asleep, not asleep, but, like, in a meditative. If you have actually been in a meditative state, then it's like sleeping, but you're not sleeping. Your mind is just sleeping, but, like, you're kind of aware of everything that's around you, but you're not, like, paying attention to it. Like, you're not with it. I don't know how to explain it, but, I just snapped right into it, and then I guess he told everybody to sit up and to get up, but I didn't hear him, I guess. But then, like, I kind of heard him louder, like, okay, guys, like, I guess, and, like, he was like, everybody get up now. But, as soon as I went to go sit up, like, everybody was already sitting up. That's how I figured that he had already said it before. As soon as I sat up, I literally could not get up. Like, I sat up and I fell right back down. He was like, it's okay. And he was, like, kind of laughing. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, what just happened to me? Like, this whole experience was insane. And I can't even get up. And then I just sat, I was, like, sitting in this circle with everybody, like, about to share. And I'm sitting there. And then, like, so the vibrations had kind of stopped, especially in the meditative state. Like, I wasn't doing the breath work anymore, so I wasn't vibrating anymore. And then, but when I sat up in the circle, my whole bottom half of my body was, like, vibrating immensely. Like, after everything, we're in the sharing circle, like, I'm sitting cross-legged in lotus position, and my whole bottom half, like, my legs were just, like, extremely vibrating, but then the top of my body was, like, completely fine. I don't know if it was because, you know, like, I was laying down, so, like, my legs fell asleep. That could be, like, a huge possibility, but it didn't feel like they were asleep. It felt like a mixture of being asleep and then, like, the same vibrations. But, yeah, so I felt super high afterwards. Kind of like the same high I feel after getting out of meditative state, or, breathwork specifically just makes you high. It's natural highness. So I definitely felt that very lightheaded kind of awareness around me. And one of the girls was like, yeah, I feel high from breathwork. And she had done it before. She was like a Kundalini teacher. And she just loved the experience. And then, like, the one guy that I mentioned before with, like, the traumatizing life and stuff, he basically just shared everything. Like, it was crazy. Like, I don't know if that made him share everything, or, like, he just felt the need to, like, that was his way of releasing. But it was just super like, he just, like, told us almost everything. But, like, he was also, like, saying it super low, so I couldn't catch details. But it seemed pretty intense, and I was like, what the heck? But and I haven't talked to him afterwards. I was like, man, you're so strong. Like, I can't even imagine. Well, I didn't say I can't even imagine, but I was just like, you're so strong. You know, I'm, like, so sorry for what happened or whatever. But yeah, everybody just, like, was super high off of it, and then sharing, like, what they felt and the experience. And then kind of when it got to my turn, the workshop was going in, so I couldn't really share. But I talked to the teacher afterwards. His name's Eric Casano. Let me see his Instagram. He has a breathwork workshop, like a breathwork healing center, or just a healing center in general, in Malibu. If you guys are interested, I would highly suggest going to him, just because, like, he taught me the most simplest of, he even told me it was more powerful than pranayama. Like, pranayama is, like, well, there's different types of pranayama, but, like, the ones I've specifically been researching into is, like, inhaling through one nostril, exhaling through another, holding, like, tension, stuff like that. But yeah, his name's Eric Casano, and He's a breathwork coach, and then he's also in like a kirtan group, like band. He said he's like a mixture between, because he saw my tattoo, and then he even gave me Palo Santo. He was like, you like Zeppelin? And then because he saw my Zeppelin tattoo, and I was like, yeah, Zeppelin's like the beginning of everything for me, man. But yeah, it's kind of like a mixture of Zeppelin and kirtan, which is basically how do you say it? Like devotional music, like kind of yeah, devotional music to like source or spirit, anything. But it's like a rock group too, which is really cool. And then he invited me to a tea party at his house that night, but it was all the way in Malibu, and that's a little too far for me, and I had work the next day anyways, and I was like super tired from the night before, so I just like didn't end up making it. I wish I could have though. It'd be awesome. But yeah, me and him talked a little bit. I told him about like my experience, and then he kind of told me like the history of how he got into it, and just like it was an amazing experience. I don't know how else to explain it, but I definitely want to show Justin, my boyfriend, because after I told him, I was like, I literally cannot get over this experience. Like, it was one of the most intense experiences that I've ever had in my life, and simply just from breathwork. But yeah, it was so crazy. Sorry. And yeah, so that happened. I did the breathwork workshop, and then when I got out, yeah, we were talking for a little bit, and then I was hungry, so Justin kind of met up with me, and I could like go in and out of the expo. So me and Justin wanted to go have lunch, and that was like kind of like an hour. So like the expo was kind of like at midpoint this way. It was already like 4:00 kind of when I got back into the expo from having lunch, and then they were doing a panel on like, so the one that I was waiting for was food as medicine, basically, and medicine as food. And it was just like talking about how important food is for our health, and specifically what foods we're eating and what type of foods we're eating. So it was kind of just saying like the worst foods you could possibly put into your body. And I think somebody said like the four R's or W's, or I don't know. But what I did learn was that these are like the worst stuff to put into your body. So white sugar, white flour, I believe. What was the other thing? I don't remember the other ones, but I know it was like processed foods, anything with like colorings, like artificial colorings or scents. Definitely a no-go. There was a lot of other ones. I don't really remember, but I mean, I'm sure this is all stuff you can look up, and these are all like authors of like books and stuff like that about like food. So this whole expo is kind of like holistic health kind of expo. So like how to take care of yourself naturally. And it was so funny because none of those people during that panel had like said no to meat. So like you would expect like the whole thing to be like pro vegan, and all the food was vegan, like for sale, but in the panels they never said that like eating meat was bad for you. And I personally, I feel like it depends, because I'm vegan myself, but for many different reasons, and other people are too, but I feel like it really depends. You know, somebody was like, make sure, you know, you're eating cage-free eggs, but that's what they said in the panel, right? But then when I've looked into what cage-free actually means, like free-range eggs, that doesn't mean they're like running around all in the wild, like all free and stuff. Like, it literally means like they're not in individual cages, and they're all just kind of cluttered in one. Like, I've seen free-range cages, and like, it's kind of like telling you one thing, like making you think it's something, but it's really not. Like grass-fed meat, like they're probably just like I don't even, it's false advertisement, I would say. But they were making sure like not to, like, don't eat these certain meats, but eat these meats and make sure they're clean. Make sure you know your farmer. That was the number one thing. Like, make sure you know your farmer, where your food's coming from, because 80% of the food that we eat, we're eating pesticides, like pure pesticides. And, you know, autism is like, I think it was like 1 in every 30 kids now will be born with autism. When years ago, like our grandparents' age, like autism, like the statistics to get autism back then were nearly not as high as they are now, especially with peanut allergy. 1 in every 5 kids, I believe, have a peanut allergy in America. Like, what? And barely anybody had peanut allergies. Like, literally all the illnesses and diseases and all these allergens that we have nowadays have grown over time due to the foods that we're consuming. Not only the foods, but the stuff that they put in our foods. And just everything that, like, the pesticides and, you know, artificial colorings and, you know, caramel color. Caramel color is, like, the #1 leading cause of cancer in our foods. That's in Coca-Cola. That's in anything that you can find it in. Just look in the ingredients list on the things that you buy, and caramel color is in a lot of them. There's an app that my psychology teacher in 10th grade had showed me. It's called FujiKit, and it's basically an app on your phone that it comes with like a barcode scanner. So while you're going food shopping, you can scan the barcode of the food, of the item, and it'll tell you like on a rating like D, F, A, B, C, like how good it is for you, and it'll break down every single ingredient that's inside of that product and why it's good or bad for you. So it was super helpful, and that's how I learned about the caramel coloring and stuff like that. And it tells you even that it's the #1 leading cause of cancer in America, or in the world, I believe. But that was really it that I had taken from the expo. I just learned a lot about food and toxins, and that breathwork workshop was crazy. I also did a meditation with this guy who had trained with like this Chinese monk, and he kind of had like this whole altar space up for like his teacher, and I had to like greet his teacher, like the altar space, before I went into the meditation. And it's not a meditation I can share because apparently like it can only be passed down through his lineage. So like he showed me the meditation, but like I'm not allowed to share it with anybody else. They can only learn it from, like, anybody else can only learn it from that temple or like that lineage or whatever. But it was just like, it wasn't in a meditation room or anything. It was kind of like in the middle of the expo. But I had to recite a mantra, and the mantra, like, it helped me, like, I fell right into it during the meditation. So like it was like a visualization meditation. So I'm sitting like with my eyes closed on the chair, reciting the mantra like silently out loud, but like mostly in my head, but saying it out loud, like, but very like quietly, and not mouthing it, while he's like going through this whole visualization process. Like, okay, now visualize this, now visualize this. But like as it's noisy around me because it's the expo, I'm not even focusing on any of it. Like all I hear is the visualization. But then I was like, I couldn't really focus on the visualization either. Like I was literally just falling into the mantra. So I was just like saying it over and over again, and like falling into a meditative state, but like also still focusing on the mantra. It was actually pretty cool. And like he kind of like, and the whole basis of that meditation was like, I don't think it was like a Buddhist philosophy or something. It was, and he had like at his space, like at his table, he had like a picture of like all the ascended masters. So like Jesus Christ, Shiva, Krishna, Buddha, just like all the high ups of like all the religions and stuff, or like Eastern religions. And he's saying that like all these people are figures of that one light, you know, that one source. And this meditation is to help you connect with that one source, basically. And so it was super cool, and it was kind of like a short healing at the end too. So as I'm reciting this mantra, he's like coming behind me and like directing this light into me. And I don't know if I just felt his presence behind me, because I'm super like sensitive to like feeling presences around me. So like I guess I felt him like on like hovering over me, moving and stuff. but like it felt odd. I don't know if I felt it moving the energy into me or it just felt odd in general. But then there was this other lady who went there too. She's like, meditation doesn't really work for me. He was like, oh well, you know, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but you could just try it. And then he was like, so how did you feel? You felt good? And then she was like, yeah, but you could tell she wasn't even really into it. But it was a very interesting experience. What else did I do there? I think that was really it. I was super tired from the day before, but I knew that whatever I had taken from that expo, I took well. I made really good connections. It was so like when you enter, you put a name tag on. So like it's a sticker and you write your name and then you write your intention. So like your intention should be like what you intend to get out of attending this expo, right? So I saw somebody with connection and I felt like that was the best thing that described what I wanted. I wanted to make connections with people, so I just wrote connection. But yeah, the expo was awesome. That was the first year that they did that. They had like this cool guy here. I posted it on my Instagram as a video of like this guy, and this was happening while I was doing the meditation with the monk. So like I didn't get to see his full show, but he was like singing kirtan about like Shiva and Ganga and like all these like you know, Hindu gods and things. But it was super cool. I wanted to sing along, but I was like, as he was doing the Om Namah Shivaya, I was still in meditation. I was like, oh man, I'm missing this. Obviously, I wasn't a good meditator state if I'm thinking that. But I really wanted to do that. And then he was going to do more chanting in the room next door, but then I wanted to see the food as medicine panel. So I just stayed for that. But yeah, that was the expo. I don't want to make this one too long because what happened last week, right? So I made that last week's episode was not even an hour long. It's like 50 something minutes long, right? And I guess the website that I used to convert my my audio for the podcast, it's like down right now or something. I haven't checked this week, but last week it was down, and or I don't know if they took it off or something, because it's like server user not requested or something comes up, and I'm like, what? But I never had a problem converting, and then since that was down, like I tried converting somewhere else, but then like, no, your file's too big. And I was like, what? So I had to like break the podcast up into like different sections and then like convert each different section. But like I was also trying to do this before work super fast, so like I tried doing that, but then even the cuts, like even the sections that I was cutting them into were too big too. So I had to cut them into like a whole bunch of sections, convert each little section, and it was just taking me too long, and I had to go to work. So I was like, oh my god, I can't even post the episode this week or like this day, and I had to post it the next day. But I guess like until this podcast gets bigger or something, then I can't do long ones. It's just gonna be like way hard for me to, or I need to get a program that I can convert these easier. I need to find a good program to convert these files so I have no problem and I don't have to go through like these third party things that are super annoying. But yeah, so about the book, what was I gonna say? I was gonna talk about something else. Oh no. Okay, yeah, so about the book, again, as you know, I mentioned this like in a couple episodes before, and I've been hinting in like all these episodes about the release, and I'm not sure where it is or how it's gonna go, but I had to change the price for it, as you guys might know or heard me mention before. So I changed it to $2, so it's available for $2. You can buy it on Amazon for your Kindle, because it's only an ebook, so like it'll only give you like you can send it to your Kindle, or if you have an Android or like any, I guess, smartphone, they have an Amazon Kindle app. Like you don't need a physical Kindle to actually read it. So if you download the Kindle app, then you can just download Kindle books or ebooks. So you can buy that book and do it for the Kindle app or your Kindle. Buy it on Barnes & Nobles for your Nook, which is like a Kindle for Barnes & Nobles, but an actual physical one. I don't know if they have an app or anything, but it's kind of pointless to get the app. Might as well just go through Amazon. But yeah, Barnes & Nobles. What's the other one? Apple. It's on Apple Books. So if you have an iPhone, there's just a whole section for like ebooks on the Apple Store. It's on there for $2 as well. And then if you don't have like any of this or something, and you just have like an ebook reader, or like you can just download an ebook reader on your phone, or I think even if your phone has like Adobe in it to look at PDFs, I think you can buy it on the Lulu bookstore for, I believe it's $2.50 on the Lulu bookstore, but I get higher revenue from the Lulu bookstore because that's like my direct self-publishing company or whatever. So yeah, then I think you can just download there and it'll download straight to your phone, and then you just need an EPUB reader. So I think that's Adobe, or like you can just go on your app store and like maybe there's free EPUB readers that you can just read it on, or like your laptop or computer or whatever. But yeah, so you can buy it on those platforms. I'm in the middle of getting it on Google Books. I just set it up yesterday, so it might be on either tonight or tomorrow if there's some issues. Well, I'll just post updates on my Instagram. Also, I posted an update on my Instagram that this podcast is now available on Google Play. Finally, I was looking, so I know I've said, like, you know, it's on Google Podcasts, but I didn't know that Google Podcasts was, like, its own app. Like, there's an app called Google Podcast. Google Podcast doesn't mean it's on Google Play. Google Play is a completely different thing. So I had no idea that's what that was, because I tried searching for it on Google Play, and I couldn't find it, and I was confused. But then I learned they were two different things. So it's on Google Podcasts, but now it's available on Google Play. So if you have an Android, and if you have an Android, you automatically have, like, Google Play Books, Google Play Music, Google Play all this. And so if you go on the Google Play Music and then you go on like search, you can like search through podcasts. I think there's like a podcast tabs. Just type in ThirdEyeCyphs and it's there, and subscribe to it, and then you get notifications. Well, you can choose whether you want to be notified of new episodes or etc. etc. So yeah, I'll also post an update of when it's going to be on Google Books, the ebook. So with that being said, I will do a reading of the first chapter. So this chapter is called Reasons and Purpose, and this is chapter 1. This is kind of like, not the basis of the book, but the basis of the book is kind of like viewing things in a kind of like going forward way or staying where you are. You know, the only way to be happy, not the only way to be happy, but a really important way. And that's why it's called a road toward enlightenment. It's not the road toward enlightenment, but it's a way toward enlightenment, towards mindfulness. So a way is to, you know, keep moving forward. Don't stay in the position that you are. Learn to release, I guess you would say. But yeah, this is the first chapter. It's called Reasons and Purpose. So here we go. Whether you choose to believe it or not, we each have our own reasons for existing. Now, your purpose may not be as grand as maybe saving the world someday, but any ounce of change put into this reality counts as something. Let me explain this a little better. It's like the butterfly effect, a result in which large changes are created by the actions of one small change. Simplified, a man once said, "You cannot remove a single grain of sand from its place without thereby changing something throughout all parts of the immeasurable whole." With this in mind, let's also think about our daily life and the people we're surrounded by. You, your neighbors, your friends, and even the people you walk past on the street all have experienced different things. You were all raised a little different, played different sports, traveled to different places, and have met many different people. These experiences are what shapes you as an individual and separates your reality from everyone else's. For example, let's say you grew up on a farm and were raised around animals. Because of this, you may have a greater admiration towards nature, agriculture, and animal rights compared to someone who may have been raised with a city mindset. This person may look up more towards fashion, nightlife, the impact of social media, and the advancement of technology. Both make up a small part of differences shared throughout each and every one of us, and are both equally important for our future as a collective. Now let's fast forward 10 years. Because of your passion for a healthy environment and animal rights, and because of that other person who cares for the world's future and technology, you both ended up creating a system that not only reduces our carbon footprint, but also saves energy and the lives of millions of animals. This result came from our differences as humans, our passion for change, and simply one small idea. Now wait, how does this all tie into reasons and purpose? Well, while it may not always be obvious, changes are constantly happening. Some may be within our control, and others within the hands of someone or something else. These changes are our purpose. People run around their whole life trying to find some sort of meaning to it, and well, what I say is stop running. Sit still a while and take a deep breath. See that everything and everyone is doing exactly what they need to be at the exact speed it should be done. We are making a change every day. The second I step out of my door and say hello to the next person I see, I have created a change in that person's life, which will create a change in another's. That is my purpose. And that was the first chapter. They're not very long chapters, but yeah, it's they're very small, simple ideas that can be super impactful and just add a new perspective to somebody's life that, it may be super simple sounding to one person, but, to the next person, like, maybe somebody didn't even think of that, somebody needed to hear that. So that's kind of mainly what it was meant for. I wrote it when I was 15, not this way exactly. If you want to read the original, it's very similar because it's basically the same exact book except like a little less good writing, I guess you would say, and then like a little less detail. But it's available on Wattpad. It's called A Guide to Enlightenment, and yeah, it's super cringy writing to me. But this one is kind of like a freshened up version of it. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that small segment of it. Again, it's not a really long book, but it's only available for $2. If you'd love to support me, you're supporting me by listening to this podcast, so I thank you so much for that. But if you're really interested in reading the book and would like to help me out a little bit, you can purchase it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Lulu Bookstore, and soon Google Books or whatever. But yeah, that's it for today's episode. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. Kind of talking about my little breathwork experience, which was super intense, so it wasn't even little. But if you're actually interested in doing this kind of breathwork, and you live in LA, I'm not a breathwork coach, but it wasn't that hard to learn, and it's something I can help somebody do. So if you're interested in doing this breathwork, contact me. Or if you're interested in buying the book, you can still contact me and you don't know how, or just anything. And you live in LA, I'll do like energy readings or whatever. But yeah. Thank you guys. I love you. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, a wonderful week. I have noticed that so the new moon was very releasing, and also this breath work that I did was pretty releasing. Not everything had come up in the same day, but it's happening over time. Like in my dreams and stuff, just slowly releasing things of my past that I didn't know I need to release. But yeah, I hope you guys continue to release things that no longer serve you. I hope you guys keep pushing to become the best versions of yourself. I would love for you guys to contact me. I love questions. I love inquiries. I love all that. I would love to meet all of you. And thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for checking out my book and supporting me. And I'll see you guys next week. All right, peace and love, guys.